Hi everyone, in this session we'll be learning few of the features of project planning. We'll get familiar with terms like issues, lists, board, labels, and milestone. So this is a section what I am talking about. You can see there is an option called issues, and underneath that we have list, board, labels, and milestone. Above that we have something called group overview. So this is self-explanatory. What it says is we have details. It gives you the information of the group, whereas activity is the actions that were performed over this group. And the same thing you can find at the project level also, where the details will give you the project details, whereas activity, that is the action performed in that project. So this is something that we are interested and we are going to learn in this session. So let's start with issue. Okay, what is an issue? It is basically a single feature, or you can call it as a task that you want to deliver. It can be anything, like it can be an innovation idea, a code implementation, or a business question, or a production bug fix, or an enhancement, right? So anything that your team member is going to work on and that adds to the business value, we call it as an issue. Okay, so hope that definition is clear. Next we have is list. List is where you view all the issues, and you can also create a new issues and view and update the issue. So currently we don't have anything here. It's because we have no issues created, but once you create an issue, you can view them here. Okay, so if you're familiar with the agile process, and we'll be doing a side-by-side comparison of the agile terms and the GitLab features, but if you are aware of something called backlog in an agile world, that is what a list means, where it is nothing but a view of all the issues that you have in your application, or a group level or the project level. Next we have is the board. A board is like a Kanban board, if you are familiar with that word. It's also called as agile board, and in GitLab it's called as issue boards. So this is basically used to plan and organize all the issues that you have created. You can filter issues depending on the options you can see here, like author, assignee, milestone, release, label, and reaction. So you can search or filter issues depending on this option. Okay, so hope that is clear. So board is basically, you can see or check the status of all the issues. It's basically kind of a notice board kind of thing here. By default we have two of the labels, that is option and closed, which we can use. And in community edition we don't have the option to create board. Okay, we just have one fixed board, that is called development. But in paid version you'll have something called edit boards, where you can create your own boards, that is multiple boards, and you can switch between the boards. So currently that option is not available for the community edition. So next we have is the labels. Now labels are used to categorize an issue. You can use one or more labels and add it to the issue so that it tells what the issue status is. For example, let's assume that we are going to implement a logging page. Okay, so we create an issue and it is assigned to a developer. So what the developer is going to do is he's going to use a label and attach it to the issue, saying that it's in progress. Okay, or you can say it is an implementation phase. So whenever who is looking at the board, that is here issue board, they know that okay, this issue is in progress and assigned to a developer and it's in implementation phase. So that's how the labels can be used. Now labels can be created at group level and also at the project level. So the labels created at the group level can be used by all the projects within it, okay, and be assigned to the any of the issues, whereas labels created at the project level are specific to that project. Okay, so hope that's clear. Next we have is the milestone. Now milestone is something that where you can uh, plan a particular set of issues to be completed within a time duration. Okay, so basically in agile world it's called as a sprint or iteration. So in GitLab we call it as a milestone. So now assume that you have a bigger task to achieve. Okay, assume that we the example that we took is implementing logging functionality. Now you split multiple issues, like you create multiple issues like front end, back end, then you have database designing. So all these are different issues, and what you do is to achieve this whole uh, implementation, what you do is you split the all these issues into a bunch of or a set of milestones, and this milestone can be of a fixed number of days or weeks. So usually it is a 2-week milestone. Okay, and that's how we can use milestone and create and assign um, the issues to that particular milestone. So we'll go through all those, and we'll start with creating labels, and then we'll move on to creating issues, and then the milestones. Okay, so before we move on to the creating labels, let's do a quick comparison of agile artifacts with that of the GitLab features. So there is a blog from Victor Wu, that is, you can see it in GitLab documentation. Again, if you see here, there is a very good mapping of agile artifact with the GitLab features. So the issue in GitLab feature in agile world is called as story, user story. Okay, and then task in agile is something called, we have task list, and I'll show you how to create a task when we are creating the issues. Okay, next we have is epic. In GitLab we also have something called epics, but this is something that is enabled only in the enterprise edition. Epics and weights. Now what is weights are, basically it gives you the efforts that are involved for implementing a particular task or a story. Okay, so that's what the weight or the point means, and again this is only available in enterprise edition. So next we have is backlog, and this is something we already discussed. It is the list that we have here. The list, that is nothing but the backlog. Next we have sprint, is basically a specific duration. Usually it is bi-weekly or 2 weeks duration, and we have that in GitLab as milestone. Then we have burn down chat, and again this is only available in enterprise edition. Then we have agile board. This is nothing but the issue board here. Okay, so yeah, you can go through this to get familiar with the agile artifacts and the GitLab features, so you can get a better understanding. If you're already working on agile process, this becomes a little easy to understand. Okay, so hope that clears the terms. Now let's go to our GitLab and create labels. So at the group level, I'm going to create 3 labels, and I'm going to name this as in progress, and I'm going to choose any color. Okay, and it's your choice, whatever color you want. So I'm going to go in sequential order. In progress, then I'm going to create another one that says on hold. The next I'm going to create is cancel. Okay, So now with this 3, we also have 2 more, that is open and closed at the group level. Okay, and you can add them. If you go back to our board here, you can add those. When you click on add list, you can see that you can see all the group level labels. You can just add them, and then you can say next, hold, and cancelled. So you have those in your board now. Okay, so next we are going to create some labels at the project level. So we already have one project created, that is a GitLab demo, and here again we have something called labels. So you can see that at the group level, we created those 3 labels which are available at the project. So let's create some project label, and I'll call this as implementation. The next I'm going to create is code review, where the code review is nothing but once the developer completes the implementation of the code, then the developer will create a merge request, and someone from the team is going to review your code and approve it. Okay, so that's what the code review phase means here. I'm just going to choose this color and then create. Next, I'm going to create one more, and I'll say that in dev. So what this means is the changes are deployed to development environment. Okay, I'm just going to create this. The next I'm going to create is in test environment, and this is going to be the changes once deployed and tested by the developer in dev environment, then the developer is going to deploy the changes in the QA or the test environment, whatever the environment QA or the business user is going to test. So that is what this label is for. In test, the next I'm going to create is testing. So this is something going to be used by either QA team or by the business user. So whenever they are doing some testing of our changes that the developer has deployed, so this is what the label they're going to use. The next we have is the final done. So when all the implementation is done, like all the testing and the implementation and deployment is done, then we are going to label the story as done. Perfect. So we have all these labels now available. So let's go on and create the issue. But before that, let's see one thing. Here we see is service desk. So what service desk is, and this is only at the project level. We didn't see this at the group level. So the reason why it is at the project level is because so first let's understand what service desk is. It is used to create an issue. Okay, and this feature can be used to create an issue without a user creating an account in GitLab. Okay, so now who is that user? The user can be a customer or any end user who we think that they need not have, or they don't need to have an access to the GitLab. All they need is, okay, I am seeing an issue, I just want to inform this to the team, okay, to the support team. So what the end user does is they send out all the information about the issue, and the issue will be created in the GitLab. Okay, so how this communication happens? This communication happens through email. Okay, so how it works is currently, if you see here, we don't have that service enabled, but I'll just explain you how it works is so the GitLab team is going to get the email ID of the end customer, and then the team is going to share this project specific email to the end customer. So what the end customer is going to do is the customer will fill out all the information of the issue in that email template and send back to the GitLab team. So what will happen is automatically the information within that email is going to be mapped to your project specific, because the email ID is generated for a project specific, right? So that is going to be mapped to your project, and an issue will be created. Okay, so you need to just know what exactly the service desk is. We won't be going into that level of explanation, but it is like a practical demo that I need to send out an email and all those. So better whenever you think that okay, there needs to be a customer who don't have access to the GitLab and wants to raise a request or create an issue, they can do via email, and then the team, the support team is going to communicate with the end customer with using that issue information. Okay, so that's how this service desk is going to be used. Hope that's clear. Now let's move on to creating an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go at the list and create a new issue. So we'll take our example where we want to create the front end of logging implementation. So I'll say a logging page, okay, UI. And you can see that it's a user type, it's an issue or incident, it's basically an issue. And I would say the description I would say is the UI must have user ID and password filled with submit button. So you can give some information about what the issue is going to have. Okay, so those information you can give in the description. You can use markdown, like if you want to give some HTML kind of view, then you can do that here by using markdowns. But for now I'm just giving the plain text. And then we have an option that says this issue is confidential and should only be visible to the team members with at least a reporter access. If you want to keep this confidential, then you can do that by checking this, but for now we keep this as unchecked. So you can see that we can assign, when creating an issue, we can assign to a particular team member, like team lead, developer, or support. We can do that. And also we can put this issue into a milestone, but for now we'll just keep it as we don't have any milestone for now. Then we can also have a label assigned. Okay, for now I'm just keeping everything simple, nothing, just the title and the description. Let's submit the issue. So you can see that the issue is created. Now if you go back, and you can see here we have lots of options. Okay, we are going to go over it, but let's go back and see how our list looks like. And you can see that this list is at the project level. Okay, and the board is going to look like something like this. You can see we have created an issue which is in open status. By default it's an open status. Now we can hover this to a different whatever level, or we can assign different labels to it. Okay, so that's how the board is going to be used. It's basically used to organize your issue. Okay, so before that, let's go to our login page issue, and you can see that we can do a quick update on that issue. Fine, so that is clear, and this is at the project level. Let's do one more thing. Let's create another issue, and here I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new issue. And you can see that, as I said, you can also create an issue from the list view itself. Here you can edit, and I'm going to give this as login implementation backend. Okay, write Java code implementation for using, I would say, using Spring Security for login. Next, I'm not assigning to anyone. I just keep simple and submit. So now I have two issues that I can see in the list. So this is at the project level. Let's go to the group level, okay, and see how it looks there. In the group, we have list. You can see the same thing, okay. If you have multiple projects, you can view all the issues that are in, in the projects under that group. Now board is where you can see two of the projects, two of the stories, and I think we added few, right? Let's add it again. No, I don't. I should be seeing all those two, but okay, for now, let's see that it's in open status. Next, we have labels. Did we create labels at the group level? I think we did, right? So why doesn't it show them? Well, let's see what's going on. But for now, I think we are focused on creating issues, right? So you can see that we created the issues. Next, let's go to that issue and let's try to assign the assignee. So here you can see, we can say that here, assign it to the developer. Okay, next, so the developer is assigned. Next, I would say this as labels. I'm going to say in progress, and I would say implementation. Perfect. So two labels are added. That's it. I would say for now I'm going to have those information. Now let's go back to our group level and see if there is any change in our board. Okay, I still don't see them. I think something is going on here. I should see all the labels. I don't think so I created at the group level. I might have created at the project level. So let's do one thing. Let's go back and use one of the feature. Okay, good that we can explore that feature here. If assume that we have created labels at the project level and you think that you want to move them to the group level, what you can do is you can promote that to the group level, right? Let's do that. I'm going to promote this to the group level. What's the promoting in progress will make it available for all the projects. Yes, and say promote label. Perfect. So next I'm going to have it for the on hold. I'm going to move this to the group level and also the cancelled one. I thought I created for the group level. Okay, anyways, but good that now we explored one more option where you can promote a label from group level to the project level, and also the other way around. Like you can also promote from the project level to the group level. Now let's go back to our group and look at the issues and at the board. Okay, I still don't see it. Might be there is something going on. I will try to figure that out, but technically you should be seeing those here. Okay, next let's create a milestone. Okay, and I'm going to create this milestone at the group level. Let's create this and I'm going to say this as logging implementation, or I would say, I would say this as like this. Basically I would have a milestone every quarter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 2021 and 01. This is what I'm going to have, and this is being my, I guess, whatever the week it is. So or you can say this is my first milestone and it is the second week. So I can give something like this 03. Okay, so sequencing or the naming of milestone, you can plan it accordingly, or whichever you know, the naming convention that you want to use. Just make sure that it is easy for you to read out and say that okay, this milestone was created by name itself. You can figure it out. Okay, this milestone was the first quarter or the second quarter of the first sprint or first milestone, or the second or third or the fourth. Okay, it depends. So basically there are going to be 2 milestones for a month, right? Bi-weekly, that means 2 milestones. So this should be practically 2000. It is January, I'm going to say 2nd. This is my second sprint, or you can say second milestone, month January, year. So this makes more sense. The start is going to be okay. This month is already about the 28th, so it's better I can make it as February and 1st. Okay, now I'm going to give the date as I will start this on February 1st, and I'm going to end this on February 1 week, second week, so it's going to end on February 12th. Perfect. And here I'm going to say this as I'm going to give some details about what this milestone is going to be, like what are the stories it is going to have. I would say logging, UI and backend implementation. Perfect. Okay, create milestone. So I have the first milestone created. I can create multiple milestones. Now let's go to the project level and assign those issues to this milestone. Here now, if I go to the issues here in the boards, what I'm going to do is it's an implementation. Let's go here. In edit section, I'm going to choose the milestone. You can see that the milestone is now available. I'm going to use that. Perfect. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other, that is backend implementation, and do the same thing here. And I'm going to assign this to let's assign to the developer again. Perfect. So with this, now I guess we are all set with when we look at the board. Here it is. I think, see, in this case, when we are at the project level, we are able to see this different labels here, but actually this should happen at the group level. Might be that is something we're happening with the grouping when we promoted it, so it might take a while to reflect, but actually whenever you look at the group level, you should see this kind of board, right? Because this is at the group level. So anyways, so you can see that we have updated the stories, or you can call it as issues, with milestone. So if you want to quickly update this, just click on it. You will have you will go to the issue. But if you are at the group level, let's explore at the group level. If you look at the board here, if you want to update, you can see that there is a view where you can, let's see if those options are available. Yeah, now those options are available. Let's add those. Good. Fine. After you promote, you need to come back here and add list. Okay, that's how you will see. Now you can see that now in progress is here. Good. So I think weird, it was something that we missed adding the add list in the group level. Fine. So here, if you want to update this, come here, just in this window here, you can just update, saying if getting the update from the developer, and if it says okay, the implementation is done and it is in the code review. So that's how you can see the code review changes here. And if you want to update if you want to update, if you want to update the label for a story that is in open, you can just drag this and move it over the in progress, and the same thing you can do with other stories or issues here, and so on. You can continue doing that for till the closed. So how it works is, basically when you are doing a project planning, a milestone is of usually 2 weeks, something that I guess I explained. And board is something that is used to get to gather the status from the developers, right, from the team. So what happens is we have normally a call every day, called a stand-up call, where the scrum master or the team members discuss about all the stories, so-called issues in GitLab. So this is the board which they go over, where they switch between the boards and filter the issues depending on the assignee or the author or the milestone, and they go over it. So they check with the developers or the team members what is the status of the story, and depending on that they say, okay, now the developer says it is in progress, so, and the code implementation is in progress. Okay, so what they do is they just, okay, the developer said it is in progress and it is in implementation phase, so just add that. Fine. So the next day there is another status. So what they say, okay, the implementation is done, now it's in the code review. Fine, so let's do that. Update, make a code review. So that's how we move on with the story, and we organize all our stories in the board. Okay, so in this process, if there is any other story to be created, we go back to the list, then we create a new story here. So I hope you're understanding how this all agile process can be used in our GitLab for project planning. Okay, there are few options that are not available in the community edition, but for a very for most of the cases, this project planning is enough for getting your things to go. Fine. So is there anything else? I guess there is nothing else to left. There is nothing left to discuss on the project planning. We discussed about list, where we can view all the issues. Board is something that we can use to organize the issues, and this is something that you will be using on your daily status call, or you can call it a stand-up, and get the inputs from the team members and update your issues. Okay, then we have labels. This is something fixed. Depending on your requirement, you can create labels at the project level as well as group level, and you can make use of them. Finally, milestones. Milestones are something that you create bi-weekly and plan to attach the issues to the milestone. Okay, so you think that, okay, within these 2 weeks we are going to complete all this set of issues. So that's how you plan your project. So I hope all this information is clear. That's all for this video, and I will see you in the next. Till then, take care. Thank you.